Good morning, brothers and sisters. I know I'm not on here every day, but there's just I don't always feel like I need to. I don't have anything really on my heart to talk about. But today I do. As I'm kind of going to be going back a little bit into my childhood and then up into my early adulthood in this video. See, when I was born 54 years ago, almost 55. I was born in 1969 of August 31st. And when I was born, I was my mom and dad's baby till the day they died. And I got treated pretty roughly by my oldest sibling. He and I, we don't talk much. We haven't talked in, probably really had a conversation in probably many years, many years. I have, I've just forgive my alfalfa sprout. There's Char Char up on the back of the chair there. Isn't he a pretty baby? He's daddy's baby and he knows it. Don't you, baby? You know you're daddy's baby. Yes, you do. But anyway, what I wanted to get to was the dogs under her cave. Right there. And Oliver, I think, is probably laying in the hallway or I don't know. I don't know where he's at. He's somewhere. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying. Okay, you can lay down there and be good, okay? Be good, baby. So anyway, I was born into a family that wasn't rich. We barely got by. I mean, my dad, I remember when I was a young child, before I even started school, I remember my dad bringing home $75 a week. That's what he made, $75 a week. And our rent on the house we lived in was $150. So 2 weeks' pay paid for the rent. And then the other 2 weeks, back then utilities were a lot cheaper. It paid for that. Mom went to work at a motel or a hotel. I don't know which one it is. I call it more of a hotel because it was outside and you weren't inside of a building. Each room had its door leading outside. But anyway, like I was saying, Mom's check stub when she brought them home weren't that big either, but it made it. Mom and Dad did not have an easy life. None of us did as growing up. And my older brother, of course, was he's different as day and night, me and him. I mean, he loves guns and all that stuff, and I don't. And he likes his Mary Jane, his weed. And I can't lie and say I haven't. I did, but God took that desire away, and I thank Him so much for taking it. I know there's people out there that smoke it, and the way I feel about that's between them and God. I personally am glad to have the smoking habit, smoking cigars and smoking weed both in my past and being delivered from them and from the life of homosexuality. When I was 4 years old, I was molested continuously by an 18-year-old neighbor. I won't give their name, but I will give that they're no longer here. That they passed away quite about a few years back, and it was. I thought that's what I was supposed to do by the way he made me feel. It wasn't until I got older and started hearing about how adults aren't supposed to do kids like that. And I remember I had went through like a stage where all I wanted to do was just play by myself. I wanted to be by myself all the time. If I had kids, like my kin folks around me, I was okay with that. Or occasional visitor would come by, I was okay with that. But most of the time, I wanted to be alone. We lived in a 2-bedroom house. The back bedroom was not usable because the whole back of the wall was gone. We had a piece of plywood up against it with a bed pushed against that. Now, in the summertime, it was usable, but in the wintertime, it wasn't usable at all. I miss that old house. I mean, it's funny to say that because I know by now it had already caved in. But we paid, I think it was like $50 a month for that. Then when my grandpa, my dad's dad, passed away in '79, we ended up in the house he rented. And we paid, the rent was like, I think, $150. Mom and Dad had gotten HUD. They had paid $75 and we paid $75. Well, for some reason, they took the HUD away from Mom and Dad. But the landlord said, just keep the rent at $75. That's what you only have to give me. And I mean, this house now on the market would go for probably $900, $800, $700. I mean, trust me, compared to where the places I lived at and what I paid, I'm saying this house would have been gone for a lot more. But anyway, growing up, I was always mistreated in school. Even up into adulthood. A neighbor of mine whose sister was like a sister to me, she lives in Beckley, and I live 100 miles from her. Or maybe a little more than 100 miles. It's somewhere near 100 miles, give or take. Maybe, I think, a little more than 100. But anyway, she and I were close as could be. She had a brother, however, who, when my mom was on her deathbed, made accusations about my mom needing something that wasn't very pleasant, make her feel better. My mom was on her deathbed, okay? My mom wasn't half of the person she used to be. She was skin and bones. And he had the nerve to say that, which I forgive him for that. I do. He's no longer with us either, though, because they say he jumped in front of a train. And I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened. But I know he's gone. I mean, it's sad to hear that he did. But I don't know. There's a song that goes to the memory in my life, but I don't listen to that kind of music anymore. But it was by Jewel, called "Pieces of You," and pieces of me where I think of things that happen, but I gotta wonder, did that really happen, or did I just think it? But anyway, this is the main part of this video. I remember when I lived in an apartment, and I had a Pomeranian, and I had a kitty cat. Now, my dog's name was Kiwi Bear, and my cat's name was Onyx. No, I did not name the cat. It came pre-named, but it was a baby doll, I'll tell you that. And it was murdered by either. I had a roommate who had a daughter. Either the daughter murdered it or the father did. So I don't know exactly who did it. Sorry about that.